fast that I don't.
What is up, Midnight Tokers, Afternoon Inhalers, and AM Hookah Smokers? This is the AM Hookah Podcast, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say everything is going to work okay. I'm not going to say it's going to work perfect. I'm not going to say perfect. It's going to work okay. I have a couple of small, ambitious things that I'm trying. You may have already noticed it from the start of the show. People seem to be liking the music, it sounds like. In chat, people are saying, yeah, the music is great. Believe it or not, that is a little ditty that I put together myself, something real simple. But now it's going to be the intro music all the time forever. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's get this show started.
We never talked about that, actually.
Let's get this started.
I thought we had 4 meetings for this.
Yeah, we need to have some more meetings for it. Let's go and get started. I'm your host, Matt. Joined with me, as always, is the drunken fool himself, Adrian. How are you doing today?
I resent that, but I'll take it. I'm doing well, man. How about you? Kind of rushed in here last minute.
Yeah.
Got caught in traffic on the way back, so I'm glad I'm here.
Oh, you're fine. No problem at all. We have some fun stuff to talk about today. First, if anybody is smoking, please let us know if you are and what you are smoking. Always happy to hear about that. Thank you guys so much for joining us, the people that are here early and the people that arrived late. We love you regardless of that fact. But we are going to be going over some stuff today. I want to give it all a very good rundown. We have a huge giveaway to talk about today, Adrian. Are you ready to talk about this giveaway?
Holy shit. Is it the one I'm thinking of? Then yes.
Yeah, it's the biggest giveaway. I know we're pretty new into this overall, obviously, but still, this giveaway is absolutely massive. I'm going to let you vape for just 1 second because I need to grab my Coles real fast, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess I'll just tell you guys what I'm smoking because I've got a weird setup for the podcast. You can't see this hookah. It comes up to like way above where it's showing, but this is just my cam Ferroni oxide. Just smoking that Alpaca grapefruit because I just want to pack a bowl real quick. I have an Alpaca Rook, 3 titanium flats, Derek Moses custom poses. And yeah, and then I got 2 trays on my cam because I'm fancy. Why doesn't everyone just tell me what they're smoking? Why Matt kind of fumbles over there to do whatever the hell it is he's doing. He got a mason bowl because he wants to piss me off.
I have a mason bowl for a very important reason. We'll talk about that shortly, obviously, not at this exact moment. But continuing on, let's go ahead and get into a little bit of the show. You guys catch Hookah John live on Instagram. I did not. New hose is dropping soon. Interesting. I didn't see anything about that. Did you, Adrian?
New hose?
Yeah,
new hose from who?
From Hookah John, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, we talked about that. I don't know if it was public or not. But yeah, there's a new host coming. No, yeah, we totally talked about it on the interview I did with him.
Oh, okay. So me and you did not talk about that then. That's why I'm having a drawing of a blank.
Which means you didn't watch the Hookah John interview.
I did watch the majority
because it was on behalf of the AM Hookah podcast, Matt.
I did watch it as a thing. I feel like you guys must not have talked about it too long or something. I really did watch it. I saw it on both our channel. I didn't watch it live. That is true. I did not watch it live.
For shame, Matthew.
Okay, let's get into this a little bit. Let's just jump straight into, I think, a very important thing that we're doing, and that is the giveaway. First and foremost, we want to give a big thank you to Alpha Comma because they are helping us in partnership with this contest. We're going to be giving away a ton of tobacco from Alpha Comma. And we are also going to be giving away to the first prize winner. That's right, first place, because there's going to be a couple of places.
Multiple places.
First place is going to win a ticket to the Hookah Worldwide Expo coming out in August, which we're super excited to be doing this. It is going to be a mix contest. That is right. We're going to be doing a mix contest with Alpha Comma, actually. We're partnering up with them. They have shown us what their top 30 flavors are. There's going to be a post on the AM Hookah group, as well as all the other Facebook groups and stuff like that. But the first place there's going to be a posting for it is going to be on the AM Hookah Facebook group. It's a pretty simple contest. First thing you got to do is you have to like the new AM Hookah Facebook Hookah page. You need to like the Alpha Comma USA page. Once you do that, you're going to pick 4 flavors out of the top 30 flavors that they have. We'll have a full list for you.
Up to 4.
Up to 4. You don't have to do all 4. Yes.
Very important.
Yes, very true. Then after you pick up to 4 flavors, you will submit your mix and, very importantly, your mix name. I want to make this very. This is important.
And also important, no less than 2 flavors.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be a mix, I guess, if you didn't use more than 2.
I'm being cheeky.
Then we're going to narrow it down to the top 10. After it's narrowed down to the top 10, the community is going to vote on it to be in the top 3. After it's in the top 3, then myself, Adrian, and
Badia.
Yeah, we're all going to do a show together, and we're going to announce the top 3 places in order of 1, 2, and 3. First place is going to be winning 1 Expo ticket, 1,000 grams of Alpha Kama tobacco. Second place is going to win 500 grams of Alpha Kama tobacco, and third place is going to win 250 grams of Alpha Kama tobacco.
Did we talk about how we're getting to the top 10? I kind of zoned out during that rant.
Yes, that'll be narrowed down by the community. So we'll be posting a poll on, I would imagine, the like page, because not everyone can get into the group page. I'm still narrowing what we're going to be doing in the future between an AM Hookah group and an AM Hookah page. Just working on the kinks of that, but it will be on one of those two. The community will narrow it down from the top 10 to the top 3. And then we will be smoking the mixes and voting on which one we believe is 1, 2, and 3. Anything else I forgot to mention?
Nope, I think we're good. Would we be taking to do this like 2 weeks plus a day?
Well, it'll be 2 weeks, so you'll have 1 week to do your mixes and submit it with your name. The second week will be, voting on and well, not the entire 2 weeks. Basically, it'll be voted down to 10, and then from that 10, it'll be voted to the top 3, and then we'll be smoking during that time period, and that's when we'll announce it. So it's going to be about a 2-week contest. The first week is that really important. You have to get your submission in that first week. It'll go live immediately after the podcast. Basically, that's when you'll see the listing on the AM Hookah group, and then the other groups will follow very shortly after that. So I'm pretty excited for this mixed competition. I think mixed competitions are honestly some of the most fun that you can do in the hookah community. What are your thoughts, Adrian?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. I think it's better than just a wheel spin, because that's what we've been doing up to this point.
Yeah.
And the wheel spin's a little bit convoluted. I don't trust that wheel necessarily. It seems like it's been a bit of a biased wheel. I think it knows what our agenda is, and it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And really quick before we move on to the actual podcast, the Messiah giveaway on my channel is over. I will be announcing the winner tonight. It's not going to be live. I'm just going to upload a quick video to Pipe Dream Hookah. So if anyone in the chat has entered, and I know some of you had actually entered into that giveaway, if any of you are entered, you'll be able to find that tonight. Maybe tomorrow morning, the winner is going to be announced on my channel. I'll post it on Facebook. I'll post it on Twitter. You'll know who you are. And then we're going to have to communicate, because I want to know what some of your favorite profiles are, so I can make sure to get you a good 500 grams of Messiah to go with that OG Ripple.
I just posted a review of Messiah today. I don't know if you've had a chance. I'm assuming you haven't had a chance to watch it, which is fine.
I have watched it, yes.
Okay. Well, did you
I watch all of your stuff as it comes out.
Did you notice what I stole from you?
You steal a lot from me, Matt.
I did it. I felt like I did it in a particular way that was not a blatant ripoff. At least I felt.
Wait, what are you talking about right now? I want to hear it.
The inhale and the exhale.
You've been doing that, though.
But what I did you
just a good idea.
Did you notice the editing that I did for it? That's what I did differently.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah.
You win.
I thought that was a fun idea. When I inhaled, I just edited out all my exhales, and on the exhale, I edited out all the inhales. That's what I thought that was going to be fun. Also, somebody in the chat, I'm sorry, things are going by pretty crazy today. We have a lot to go over, I think, is the main reason why. But Gus said something absolutely amazing, and I want to know how many people remember this. Anyone remember the old school Hookah Freak mix contest that they used to do with Hookah Hookah or Sahara Smoke? Do you remember the Hookah Freak mix contest they used to do?
Not me.
Oh,
I don't think I was around.
They allowed you to mix all the Hookah Hookah tobacco, and you would submit it. And if you won their contest, they would send you like 1,000 grams of the mix that you made. It was a pretty cool contest they did back in the day. It was, I want to say it's like 7, 6, maybe even 8 years ago at this point they used to do that. I haven't seen a new one for a long time. Adrian's mic is peaking past him, alas. Okay, so it says that your mic's a little loud. So I'm going to turn you down just a tiny bit and see if that helps. If you want to say something, Adrian, real quick.
Yep, blame Matt. I'm just using a blue snowball over here, and he's controlling the audio, so blame Matt for everything. Hashtag blame Matt Deason.
I think that might sound a little bit better. Let us know in the chat if that does sound any better. Paul just says, I figured out that AM means Adrian and Matt. Yeah, that's very true. That is a true statement. We're a mix of our own, actually. And that is what it means. Okay, let's get into the show a little bit. I think we talked about the giveaway. We'll talk about it again at the end a little bit as well. And I know I may not do a great job of explaining the contest rules, so there will be a full write-out of everything and how you enter. So don't worry, you'll understand it very quickly. Let's get into it. Adrian, you already said what you're smoking. I love your KM Fione, by the way. I have one as well, and I need to pull it out. We need to do a Fione session A.
But do you have the lower tray?
That I do not have.
You got to do that.
I will have to try to see if I have one that I can use for it. I am smoking a mix of 2 Tangiers flavors and a Zomo flavor, and I've been enjoying this mix, Adrian. I've been really liking it. This is Tangiers Guava, Tangiers Papaya Sherbet, and Zomo Mango, strong mango.
That sounds amazing. The Zomo strong stuff has just been super impressive. Did you see Zach's review of it? His strong orange?
I did.
Awesome review, as always.
It impressed him, he said. And he said he's not that big of an orange guy, which seems crazy that there may be somebody who is not a fan of a citrus-style flavor in the hookah world. It seems like it's such a mainstay, kind of, I guess. Kyle says, hey, Adrian and Matt, just got that. Just wondering about it since the PM podcast. I don't know. He's saying that we do it in the PM, so he didn't understand why we called it AM. You know, I don't think we've ever talked about the name of the show before, actually.
No, I don't think so. You could fire me and hire Paul, and then it would be the PM.
Then it would be the PM. So, Paul, inquire after the show. I'm just kidding.
I've been on the chopping block the whole time.
Never once.
The working conditions here are awful.
Yeah.
Matt runs a tight ship.
I know, yeah. Totally tight. Captain Wetbeard says, yes, you got the Papaya Sherbet and Tangiers Gang. Oh, man, I think I got dizzy right there. So that's what I'm smoking right now. I'm using 3 of the, what are they? The Prestige Coconut Jumbo Flats. I got my packages of them. They are my new flat of choice, personally, with the Mason Bowl. And the reason why I'm using the Mason Bowl today is because we are going to be talking about some Mason news a little bit later on.
A little bit of Mason stuff coming down the pipeline.
Yep. KM Monday needs to be a thing. I agree with that as well, actually, Akeem. Akeem showed a very cool picture in the AM group. I don't know if you saw that or not, Adrian, but it was a very, very sexy-looking piece that he has going on. Let's get this going. So, new reviews. I posted a review for a flavor, and you also posted a new review as well. Yes, you have Happy Hour. That's right, Ugly Happy Hour, which I was very interested in hearing because that's one of those flavors that doesn't tell you what the name is immediately. So you really have to kind of either hear from someone else's experience or try it yourself. I prefer to hear from somebody else's experience usually when it comes to those kind of flavors. So let's hear about it a little bit, if you don't mind going over just a tiny bit of what you thought about that Ugly Happy Hour.
Very simple. It performs as well as any other ugly hookah tobacco from the newer run. I think we've done 2 batches since the last bad batch, and it's been really good so far, so that's a good thing. As far as the flavor profile goes, it's a banana Laffy Taffy. There's really nothing else going on. I thought I might be picking up some citrus notes in there. I can tell you guys that Jim is known to put lemon and orange in flavors where they don't belong to kind of brighten up a mix, and I think he might be doing that with the Happy Hour. But it's mostly banana Laffy Taffy. It's pretty good. I would recommend picking it up if you're looking for a yellow flavor.
That is what I've always considered banana Laffy Taffy. I always called it, me and my buddies, like when it comes to like a banana flavored popsicle or any of those kinds of things, we always call it yellow number 5. It just tastes like yellow number 5.
Yeah.
That is how we've always referred to it. What do you guys think? Are you a fan of yellow number 5 when it comes to flavoring? I will say that I am not a banana guy flavor at all, and I'm not a fan of yellow number 5. Banana cream pie, for instance, from Black Lava is very, very good, and it's not banana number 5, which is nice. You recently got banana cream pie, did you not?
It's not here yet.
Oh, so sad. I wish we could talk about that.
If we were going to talk about what we've been smoking, I was going to skip that and say it's Van Alfacher, and I have reasons for that I'm not going to get into right now. But I will be smoking a lot of Azure and a lot of Black Lava. Because being a reviewer, you smoke a lot of stuff that maybe isn't your favorite kind of thing to smoke, to tell people about it, and then you forget that you like smoking certain things. So I did a bad thing, and I put a personal order in for myself, and I got some... Tristan actually suggested banana cream pie and raspberry lemonade from Black Lava, and then I picked up 250 grams of Azure. One of them's lemon muffin, the other one's Carolina peach.
Oh, that peach! I know you absolutely love it. Yes, I'm excited to hear what your thoughts are. The order that I did for my Tangiers Guava is something that I love to have on my shelf at all times, and it's been so long since I've had any Tangiers, so this order that I did was purely personal as well. I think I'll probably review the Strong Mango, just because even though there's some good content already out there, Zach did a review for it and stuff like that. I like it a lot, and I would really like to share my opinion and thoughts on it as well, actually. nothing wrong with giving out or doing a personal order by any stretch of the imagination. Do you have anything you want to plug for an upcoming review that you may be doing here shortly or anything?
Other than the winner video for the giveaway, more ugly stuff to come, and then I've got some content that I've never done before coming out. Some more interesting stuff. So anyone who wants to know more about that, you're gonna have to wait. Sorry.
Okay. We are on a 10-second delay. We've said that we were before. We actually weren't. I didn't realize that we weren't. I have a 10-second delay on today, so we may be a little bit slower to get to your comments in the exact order that you mentioned them, just to give you pre-warning. Captain Wetbeard just said that he liked the happy hour, but that's because he also likes Banana Laffy Taffy, just like Adrian said. So there are people out there, as strange as you people may be, that you do exist, basically. So let's go ahead. What?
Whoa! Banana Laffy Taffies are pretty good.
It's a unique profile. Laffy Taffy in general, though, let's be honest, like Laffy Taffy's kind of a weird flavor profile in general for most of their flavors. All right, let's get into some of the news real quick. Adrian, I don't know if you've heard, there is a new bowl that's coming out on the market. Did you hear about this?
I've seen some rumors.
Okay, well, it's gonna take you a little while to see this, but I'm actually gonna post a picture right now in the YouTube, what we're doing right now. It's going to be right under me and you as we talk about it. It is the Grand Onyx Bowl from Mason. This thing's pretty interesting. I want to get into it, and I want to be very blunt about our opinions of it, because I think that we're going to have some mixed opinions in this. We understand the cost of Onyx. We understand why they cost the way they do and stuff. But I think we can both agree that they seem a little pricey, and we wish that they were in stock so that people could actually purchase them.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk about the what seems like intentional choking of supply in order to inflate demand. I think that's a topic that deserves some airtime. But I'd like to talk about the bowl first.
Yes, let's go ahead and talk about the Grand Onyx. So I'm going to read. It's going to be a small. I'm going to read for just a little bit. I hate to read verbatim, but I think that might be the best way to do this. So I'm just going to read directly from it. So it's going to take just a second for me to get through all this. Are you ready? So the new Mason Bowl. It is with great excitement I give you our newest product into our lineup, the Grand Onyx. I first started to work on this a year and a half ago. A small handful of fellow peers have known about it and even tested it for a few weeks at a time to ensure the functionality in this time. We finally are excited to bring it to the marketplace. And then he says, why did we do this? The Onyx has been praised as one of the top performing bowls on the market. So how can I improve upon this? Yes, I have had many customers ask me to raise prices of the Onyx. To raise prices, I didn't know that people asked about that. So it's easier to get. That way he can make, I guess, a larger batch of them. I'm not sure. I want to avoid raising the prices substantially and without offering something more. So this sounds like the reason why he's doing this is partly so he can charge a little bit more money. The Grand Onyx will be a luxury Onyx at a higher price point, but it will not replace the original Onyx. Both versions will be offered. Aside from just beauty, the Grand Onyx also has functional differences as well. So this is actually made, I don't know if you've seen the picture yet, Adrian, but it's actually made...
Oh, I know exactly what it's made of, yeah.
Yes, so it's made out of diamond wood. Well, we'll keep going into it. The wood stays cool so that the bowl handles do not get hot to the touch at any point in the session. It's designed to grip any grommet through a series of pronounced granite ridges. It's lined with copper so that it can completely be washable and anatomically. And best of all, it is more durable to withstand an accidental fall with the clay in the material used to cook the shisha. This way, it can get the same top performance as a clay onyx, but the durability of the non-clay that goes into it, just to easily justify the Grand Onyx purchase based on durability alone. So it is made with, is it called dynamod wood? Diamond wood?
I think it's diamond wood, but I'm not sure.
Okay, diamond wood, copper, clay, and our premium glazes all in one package, and it is handmade in the good old USA from start to finish. So this is interesting. What do you think of the look of the bowl, Adrian?
The bowl looks like garbage. I'm not a big fan of the way the Onyx bowls look in general. That's opinion-based, though. There's a lot of people who really love the Onyx bowl, and I think that's fine. So as far as aesthetics go, that's just going to vary from person to person. What I'd like to talk about is functionality, and I didn't know there was clay in the bowl. I'm interested as to where the clay is. because I'm very worried about where the wood is, because I think that's going to matter a lot when we talk about cleaning the bowl.
My understanding is that the clay is on the top, or on the top part where the actual bowl is itself. That's the shisha ware clay that they normally use, and then the part that you hold or you put onto the hookah, that grommet part, is actually where the wood comes into play, and then that is lined with copper so that it's washable and durable for cleaning reasons.
That's very interesting. Matt, why don't you go first? Because when I start talking about this bowl, I think I'm going to tear it down a little bit. I'm pretty skeptical on the bowl. I'm skeptical of a lot of the Mason products in general. So you go first, because you seem to be an advocate for the Mason products.
Yes, for the most part, I enjoy my Mason bowl quite a bit. I don't use it as much as I used to, and that's mainly because I hadn't got Tangiers. It's my favorite bowl to use with Tangiers and dark leaf tobaccos, which I actually haven't had in my possession for a little while, so I haven't been using it as much as I used to. Now, you say that it looks ugly. I'll go ahead and say that I really do like the look of it. I think it looks very nice. I think it looks very luxurious, high class. I'm sure it's going to be well made. I'm sure it's going to have a nice, not only aesthetic, but the glazes do look very nice to it. I'm interested to see how the glazes hold up on the wood part of it. I don't know much about diamond wood and like the quality. I know that it's high quality, but that's about all I know about that. I'm worried about the price. Right now, the Onyx Bowl sits at $34, I think. The the Helix Bowl, I want to say is like $50, something like that. I could be off, but I believe it is. So I'm worried about what the price is going to be for something like this. Do you think they're going to charge like $80 for this?
I think it's going to be right between the $60 and $80 mark, and they're mixing clay and wood and copper. So the assembly of this bowl, I've got a few issues with how they're going to assemble this bowl because of the amount of heat being introduced and how you're going to bind wood to clay. But
one of the problems with the Onyx Bowl is that because it is cast made, it's made with a cast, the part that is the top part of the bowl and then this little neck right here is actually really weak. So if you drop it, chances of it breaking are very high for that reason. It's a weak point in the bowl. I don't think that weak point is going to change because they're adding this diamond wood, because they're trying to put clay on top of wood. And that's going to cause weakness to that joint, I believe.
You need some type of a binding agent, right? Wood and clay don't just stick together. That's not something that happens. It's not the way those two materials behave together. So they need to be using some type of a bonding agent. And I'm thinking it's going to be some type of an adhesive, like a glue or something. And I don't know what exists right now, but it's going to have to be able to take a lot of heat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Without melting.
Like, sure, the wood's going to be cool, but if the clay is what's on top, I don't think we care about the wood being cool. Like, that to me just isn't a selling point. It sounds like he's riffing on the things that this bowl does. Like, sure, it's a variable and a factor, but I don't think it's a selling point. So I don't know. I think that clay might heat up, and I think that the bonding agent, it's been an R&D for a while, right?
Yeah.
So you think that would be the case? Obviously, if nothing else, he knows very good about testing his products and making sure he doesn't release garbage, because none of his products are bad. But I'm really skeptical. I think I'm going to have to pick this bowl up just to see what it's all about.
I hope it's made in a large quantity so that it is available to buy. The enthusiast market is a fan of buying well-made products and buying them as they're out and available to be purchased. I want to know, everybody in chat, what are your opinions? Hookah Fiend actually said, my alpaca bowl works better than any of my Onyx bowls. Fuck that bowl and the overpriced products. That is a quote from Hookah Fiend.
I'm right there with you.
Yes.
I'm right there with you, and I have problems talking about it because I had the opportunity to meet Nino. He seems like a really nice guy. He's genuine. He cares about the industry. He cares about the community. He's a good guy. But there is a serious issue with how difficult it is to actually acquire a Mason bowl of any variety.
Yeah.
You've already got the Onyx, which is their baseline bowl. That's already pretty difficult to get a hold of. And if you get a hold of one, you've only got like a 40% chance of getting the glaze that you want. And just to do it, you've got to go through all these hoops of having your card information already in the screen and everything, because people buy these up like crazy. And the argument's made to me that these take a while to make, but they are slip cast. And he doesn't do them himself. I don't know how many people know that, but he's not making these products with his own hands, which is an important thing to keep in mind. He's got people doing this for him. So I'm worried about availability.
Badia says that what if I just lost his comment, I apologize. He says, what if the top clay fits to the wood? So it's actually being like put onto it as it's being made. That's a possibility. That could possibly work. But then again, you're also going to maybe have slippage with wood and clay interacting with each other. That's a possibility.
Also, clay's density varies when you heat it up. You know, you're going to get some small amount of it's going to kind of, I'm thinking of the word right now, it's going to get more dense and less dense as you introduce and take away heat. So it's just something I'm worried about. But I also trust Nino. Like, as much as I don't like his products, I can't say that I've had any of his products perform poorly.
Yeah.
Or just like break out of nowhere. So that's important to keep in mind.
Bracken says that he thinks that this bowl might cost close to $90. That'd be
That's
interesting.
insanity.
That'd be absolutely crazy.
Which is fine, though. I mean, that's fine.
If
right?
people are willing to pay for it.
It is a luxury product.
Yes.
So I don't really have any issues in the price bracket.
We've seen luxury products, and we're willing to pay for them if they're worth that value. The bigger problem does not come from the price. It comes from the availability. When it becomes a game, which is exactly what Dr. Noobsauce just said, actually. He says he doesn't like playing the game where if you check out in 3 seconds and you still don't have a chance to get one, he says not buying Jordans. And that's, you know, I think it's become a very good, when two things are common, I can't think of the proper word, sorry, where they're interchangeable, whatever. Nobody wants to buy something they can't get, and eventually they don't try to get it anymore. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, you have no want to try and get an Onyx Bowl at this point because of the amount of effort that you're being forced to put into.
Yeah, it's an issue because it all comes down to performance, right? When you're like an enthusiast, you want a bowl that's going to perform the best it can in whatever situation you're going to put it in. Obviously, people have different bowls for different situations. The Onyx Bowl, like you said, I've only had the opportunity to use it a handful of times, but it performs great with those dark leaf tobaccos that you want to fence down. I really do agree with that. I think it's one of the better bowls for that. Does it outperform a Predator or a Surrey? Absolutely not. In no world does it outperform one of those bowls. So I think there's a bit of a disconnect, and I think it all comes from the hype of the product. And that's kind of where I want to get into the supply and demand and how I think it's being manipulated in a less than ethical way. Mm-hmm. And that's just my opinion. I don't understand how his business works from the inside. I don't work for Nino, obviously. So there might be some issues with creating the amount of availability of these bowls to satisfy the entire market. So I'm not sure, but just from a business standpoint, there's no reason that he shouldn't be able to keep up with supply. Because even though the demand's huge, compared to companies like Alpaca and Hookah John and even Liberty or some of the foreign companies, these bowls isn't a high demand as something like an Alpaca bowl. Omar moves way more bowls than Nino. That's just the truth.
Kyle Smith actually brings up an interesting point. He says he's sitting over here sweating over all this availability talk, and I think that's an interesting thing coming from him because he is a one-man production team that is hand-making all of his bowls. He's creating a batch so that he can sell them. It is going to be interesting in that regard for it, and I'd love to be able to sit down. We should have Kyle on again, actually, and talk about this a little bit, especially as he gets closer to releasing his Relics Bowl, so we can have a little bit further conversation into the idea of availability over supply, supply and demand, basically, when it comes to this sort of thing. I think that'd be a good conversation to be had. I don't know. Any final thoughts you want to talk about for the Grand Onyx Bowl?
Yeah, basically, I'm going to get one just because I'm a reviewer and I feel like this is something that's going to need some coverage before people go out and drop maybe $60, $70, $80, $90 on one, depending on what the price is. So I will be getting one, but reluctantly. I don't like Chris says, Dr. Noob Sauce, that game is not one that I'm interested in playing. And it's a problem. And people love Mason products. Tristan, he's a pretty loyal follower to the show, and he happens to love their bowls. And we've gotten into not heated arguments, but debates about it. And I can't objectively disagree with anything, but keep in mind that if you haven't tried to buy an Onyx Bowl, just a regular old Onyx Bowl, it's really hard. And if they come out with this luxury bowl, I can almost guarantee that the availability is going to be restricted even more. And all these people who are hyper enthusiasts who are willing to spend that amount of money on a bowl, it's going to be hard to compete with them to get however many they're releasing a batch. I mean, I can't foresee him releasing more than 10 or 20 of these per batch. They're going to get bought in 15 seconds. That's just the way it is. That's how he operates his business. He absolutely chokes his supply to inflate his demand. That's just, it's an old trick too. Like Chris said, Jordans do that. Certain models of Jordans, they only run a certain amount, and people really get hyped up and try to buy them. It's the same thing with Mason.
Usually for Jordans, I would like to say is they usually do a limited edition or a run of them. So when they're done, they're done. Where Mason just does continuous editions of it. Nobody knows the actual size of the batches that he releases, but it seems like it's not as high as it should be, I guess would be the best way to put that. So, yeah, let's
Ooh.
Yes.
Really quickly, because this was brought up. Kyle, I consider him a pretty relatively close friend for someone who lives like 8 states away. His bowls are really good. We talked about that. I don't need to sing the praises of their Relics bowls anymore. But there is a difference. Don't sweat your inability to keep up with the demand for your bowls, because I feel like there's a bit of demand for them now. When you're a one-man shop and you're literally producing the bowls with your 2 hands, it's a totally different thing. Now, if this became like a full-time job and you wanted to push... Now, again, Nino does not do this full-time. He has a full-time job, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Don't give him too much criticism. But when you're doing this by hand and it's kind of a labor of love, you're doing everything, working hard, don't worry about availability. People want to buy your bowls, they're going to buy them. Think about that 2-3 years down. You know what I'm saying? Don't stress about that too much.
And I believe that most companies, once they get rolling, they're willing to step up production to meet those sorts of demands, I think is what we are waiting for Onyx and Mason and Shishaware to do, basically. Sorry about that. All right, let's get into the topic of the show. You ready for this?
Yeah!
Okay, let's get off of Onyx and talk about more hookah expos and conventions in the future. That was my question mark that I added there at the end. Let's talk about this. So right now, when it comes to hookah expos in the U.S. of A., because overseas they obviously have quite a few more and stuff. Hookah expos, when it comes to the United States, there's 2 that I can think of. There's the Hookah Fair that happened in New York this year, and then there's also, well, there was another one that sort of happened as well, another hookah fair of some kind, though I don't have a lot of understanding of what that was. I just didn't follow it very well. There's also the Chicago Hookah Meetup Group, kind of. Do you think that kind of classifies as a expo of sorts?
Not so much. It's more of a get-together. There were some vendors there last year, or this year, I guess. But no, I wouldn't say that that's an expo. Okay. It was mostly just people getting together to talk about smoking. It was a really lax thing.
Okay. So really the big expo that's happening is obviously the Hookah Worldwide, thrown by Hookah John himself. It's happening in Las Vegas in August. We're both planning on showing up there. Do we want to see more expos in the future, Adrian? I want to take a second to say good idea, bad idea. What are some good ideas about having more expos in the United States? You take this for a second.
The first good idea is, I don't know if you guys paid attention to Hookah John late last year, but we didn't know if this Hookah Expo was going to happen. There were a lot of issues trying to lock down a location where we could smoke inside the building. If I understand correctly, that was an issue in New York. There was a hookah fair, and you couldn't smoke in the building. I'm not paying to go to that, ever, for any reason. That's like half of the fun, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the first thing would be making sure that this is absolutely an annual thing that happens year after year, so the following can get bigger and bigger. Yes. It seems like so easy to say. Like, oh yeah, obviously it's going to happen every year, but this is just the second one, and it was dangerously close to not happening last year.
Yes, it was. The attendance numbers were not exactly what Hookah John wanted to see last year. It sounds like this year that has been blown out of the water expectation-wise, which is super exciting. Obviously, that comes from larger vendors coming and being a part of it as well. That matters quite a bit. The good thing about it, in my opinion, is the more we do this, the more it's going to become a regular thing, which means that bigger companies are going to be more willing to do these sorts of expos. You know, when there's a faith that it's going to happen more regularly, then you have that ability to take that chance and being a part of it. Where if it's a one-off and you're not sure if it's going to happen again, then you're a little bit concerned, like, do you want to pour the money into it? Because at the end of the day, all these companies that are a part of these expos, they want to make money from it. Like that is their main goal in doing this.
Yeah, and a big thing that's going to need to happen is, like, Starbuzz coming out is huge. Alfaka coming out is huge. Alpha Kama coming out. These are all huge things that are going to make this a worthwhile event to attend. But one thing that Hookah Jam was talking about in the little interview I had the opportunity to conduct with him was that there were a lot of people like, well, if it goes well this year, maybe we'll do it next year. Fuck that. Show up to these things. If you want this industry to grow, if you want to not keep advertising to the same 3,000 people and 5,000 bots and all these enthusiast groups, you need to show up. Like, show up to these things, vendors and brands. Like, that's the biggest thing. There's a lot of people that have signed up to come to this expo. There needs to be 4 times the capacity for the next one, and everyone needs to show up if you're serious about being a figurehead in this industry. Like, and people are really wussing out of this, and I hate it.
Us as consumers also need to go. I know that sounds like an easy thing to say, but it is important that we are supportive of the things that are being put on in the industry. I know it can be difficult. I'm not saying like everyone needs to go buy an airfare ticket to get down here and do this and stuff, but we do need to be supportive of these sorts of things, because without people buying tickets to go to them, they're not going to do them. That's just a reality. That they're not. The idea of the expo is so that it's not vendor exclusive, but it's consumer exclusive. And that is a pretty big difference in what this sort of thing is compared to other stuff.
Yeah, and as much flack as HJ gets for some of the ways he conducts his business, because he is a businessman before he's a community member. That's just a fact. But the fact that he's opening it up for other vendors to show up, his direct competitors, people need to kind of follow that example that he's setting of including everyone to make the consumer happier.
Yeah, I agree with that. Something else I think that should be said. I lost my train of thought, so I'm not even going to bother with it. Let's go on to some bad ideas that could be about more expos happening. Dr. Noobsaw says expo at his house. Adrian and Matt were both invited. I think we'll be the special guest talkers at that.
We're going to New York.
Hell yeah. So yes, let's talk about the bad ideas. The bad ideas is saturation, too much saturation of the market. It could hurt in a sense that if there's so many, eventually, if there's 20 of them, the reality is 15 of them are probably going to fail. We want more expos, but we don't want it to come at the expense that it becomes a broken market and it starts to create a bubble. And then that bubble eventually pops. There does have to be a certain line where too much can be a bad thing. And I think that's probably the only bad idea that I can think about having more expos. Is there any other bad ideas that you can think about that?
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing. Oversaturation of events like this are going to be a problem. Like Gustav was saying, it's a serious issue when you have a micro market like the one we have for hookah here in the U.S. and you overrepresent it. You're going to have these expos where 30 people show up if you oversaturate it. And then people are going to start to go, oh, this isn't fun at all. We don't want to be here for the next one. So that's going to be an obvious problem. I think it would be a better problem to have than the one we have now, which is just a sheer lack of events for people to go to. But another good idea, I think, would be to have Hookah Expo worldwide travel.
That would be okay. So let's go into the next thing. Where are some places that we'd like to see the expo get into? Obviously, anywhere close to myself is my first call to arms, obviously. I like the fact that it's in Vegas. It's an 8-hour drive for me, so it's easy for me to make. What about you? When you think about expos you'd like to see in the future, maybe besides maybe your hometown or something, where would you like to see an expo arise at?
A big one is my hometown. And I wouldn't necessarily say Dearborn or Detroit. I would say somewhere in mid-Ohio would be a really good spot. They've got a lot of good shops out there, like Hookah Rush is out there. Those guys do a pretty good job. Yeah. They actually bought the bowl at the Chicago Hookah meetup, the one that sold for $250. But if we had something down there like that, we have here in Dearborn a massive amount of hookah smokers, and they don't know anything about hookah at all, and it's because of lack of exposure. So it'd be really nice to get the expo into some of these spots that are maybe over here towards more the middle of America instead of coastal, because we have the New York stuff, we have the Vegas/California stuff, but once you get towards the center mass of America, you don't really have anything going on.
Tennessee, I think, would be a really cool place. Nashville, it's a really nice party town and stuff like that. I think that'd be fun to see. Even in Texas, I think would be another nice place for it to arise to. All these Central America type places, I think, would be really cool to see it happen in. And I think that it's a good centerfold for a lot of people so that you're not traveling to one end of America to the other end of America. You can travel, and it's a little bit cheaper in that respect, too, a little bit. So I think that'd be kind of nice. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Oh, Badia said, who said his name? And bad idea, Badia. I feel like I'm saying your name correctly today. I'm not saying anything crude at this point, at least. Miami actually was brought up. Miami would be a fun place, nice and coastal and nice weather and stuff. New York, I don't dislike the idea of New York because I think New York is such a cool town and stuff like that. It'd be cool to see. Do you think that you'd want to see? Do you think that you'd like to see Hookah Worldwide travel more than you'd like to see individual other expos pop up?
I would love to see an expo. I'd like to see someone take the initiative to put together an expo of the magnitude that Hookah Worldwide is. But there aren't a lot of guys like John out there that can do that right now.
Yeah.
It's a big issue. So it seems like it might be kind of the word that comes to mind is pipe dream, if that feels dirty. But it feels like it might be a bit of a pipe dream for someone to come in and put together one of these expos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical of that. I think really we need to support John and what he's doing right now is the bottom line.
Yeah, I think so too. Coverage of it is also something that we could do to help. If you're not planning on showing up, I think coverage of the actual event itself is also very beneficial. Talking about it, including conversation about it, and being positive in general, I think is a very good way to go about this personally. What do you think about the idea of having expo exclusive stuff? I thought this would be something that we could talk about a little bit at least. What's your general idea of expo exclusive stuff?
You talking about products?
Yeah, products. Just, I mean, not so much experiences because that's going to be an obvious thing just because you're going to get a experience from going to it. But exclusive bowls or hoses.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Even just like a Hookah John hose that's kind of like branded for Hookah Expo Worldwide or something like that. That'd be really cool. Same thing with bowls, just like unique stuff that you can only get there. Alpaca could maybe go out on a whim and design some like unique those gold alpaca bowls that they make, some unique ones for the expo. I think that'd be really cool because at the end of the day we're all collectors.
Yes.
So
I like the idea of exclusive stuff for the expos just because I think it gives you a little bit more motivation to show up as well. I think that people shouldn't be too worried about showing up to the expo. I think they should embrace it and use reasons to get there, and one of those reasons could very well be, oh, if I go, then I can go and get this exclusive bowl or exclusive hose and stuff like that. So I think expo exclusive type stuff would be a really cool thing to see personally.
So Gustav brings up a point that I've been wanting to talk about forever.
Okay.
When we can segue into that.
Oh, go right ahead. I think now would be a good time.
Gustav says, for the love of God, someone teach these industry fogies how to social media. Yes, it's amazing. A lot of big businesses have kind of mastered how to use social media to brand and market themselves and kind of put a face to the company. And that's just strictly a good thing in today's business climate. Like people talk about social media on the internet, and I would argue that social media is the internet. Yeah. That's like 90% of what people do on there. And everyone, and I'm not excluding any brand, not even Starbucks, you're all fucking awful at utilizing social media. You're just very bad at it. And we need some people to get on it. Everyone, like I was saying earlier, everyone is marketing to the same 3,000 people and 5,000 bots. And they're wondering why we're getting such a slow creep of growth in America. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I think that once we figure out the key to advertise to the average hookah smoker, not just the enthusiast, we'll also hit a very good ceiling at bringing on new smokers and people that are interested in it. You know, with our show, we are a social media entity in ourselves as well, and we have taken that time to teach other people and show other people that are not normally accustomed to smoking hookah. Like the people that I share the podcast with, 9 out of 10 times are people who are not enthusiasts when it comes to smoking. I share it a bunch on, the hookah groups. I have to. It's not like I can't. But then I talk to other people and I say, hey, would you mind listening to my podcast and tell me what you think of it? And normally the conversation always arises of how do I get into that exactly? And that's when the good conversations really start, in my opinion. Bringing on new smokers is a positive thing, which brings me to our final topic of this. Should we have an AM Hookah Expo, Adrian? What do you think about that idea?
Oh, well, that sounds like a pretty big operation for us, Matt. Do you know something I don't?
I think
we haven't talked about this.
I think we can get all 20 people in our chat to come and hang out with us for a little while and throw a big old shindig. What do you guys think? You want to see an AM Hookah Expo? This is all just babble and bull talk, obviously. But I think it's a fun idea. One thing about industry when it comes to, I'm going to bring up video games. Their largest expo is obviously E3, but then they have other expos along those lines when it comes to, you know, things that PlayStation does and Microsoft does and Ubisoft and all these other companies and stuff. Like, yes, I think that right now, especially in the beginning, we need to support John and what he's doing, but in the future, having individual expos is not a terrible thing as well. So
absolutely,
Captain Wetbeard already said that he would come to the shindig. So who else do we need to show up? Is what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. He'll be the guest speaker. Matt just won the lotto, and he's gonna blow it all. Exactly. If I win the lotto, then we're gonna have an expo immediately. That is what I'll spend all the money on. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so moving on throughout it, that was kind of all I had for this sort of talk. So is anybody in chat, do you have anything you guys want to talk about? Bring it up now would be a good point to do that. And then while we go towards the ending, I think we'll bring back up the giveaway that we're doing. First,
giveaway. We're doing a giveaway. We're
Yes.
giving away things.
First, talk about your giveaway real quick in case anyone chimed in late and didn't see what you had to say.
If you follow Pipe Dream Hookah and you watch my videos, you know that I'm doing a giveaway for 500 grams of Messiah and an OG brick bowl in pink lemonade color. Maybe I should say so. I'm just going to show the bowl because I talked about this 3 times and haven't showed the bowl.
Okay, if you haven't seen Adrian's video that he did for his giveaway, it's absolutely fantastic. And the thumbnail is one of the best thumbnails that he's ever put together, so make sure you go. You heard what I said, didn't you? That thumbnail is lit, and I don't even like saying the word lit.
I hear you. I'm giving away this bowl and 500 grams of Messiah in the form of, what was the number? I think it was 10, 20, however many 50-gram packs, 10 equals a half a kilo.
Yes, yes.
This in 10 50-gram packs, I think is what it was. And I'm going to let you guys kind of, whoever wins, kind of let me know what your favorite flavor profiles are, and I will shop based on that. I'm going to include some things that I think are must-tries for Messiah. But yeah, the giveaway has ended. I haven't selected the winner. I'm doing that tonight. The announcement should go up tonight or tomorrow on who wins the giveaway, and then I'm going to ask you to reach out to me. Or maybe I'll reach out to you if I know how to. So that's it for that. But there's a much more enticing, interesting giveaway going on right now that I think we should be talking about.
Yes, and before we do, Gus says someone help him make a Michigan hookah meetup. That is your goal, Adrian. Help Gus make that Michigan meetup happen.
I'm actually already working on it.
Awesome.
Believe it or not. There's a few guys in Michigan. I don't know if you know, Gus, because I know you're local. But there's a few guys in Michigan that have been talking about doing some type of a get-together at a lounge or something. And I know a few guys from Ohio that are interested in doing the same thing. So I'm kind of trying to get a list together. I think that'd be really fun to do.
That sounds like it would. J-Rock just wanted to say real quick that he was saying that a good point is that the vape industry is booming, and one way they're doing that is on social media. Vape media is huge, and it blows up all the time, and it's not something that, like, gets real big and then fizzles out. It like gets real big and then it falls down and then it gets real big again. They do a great job of showing tricks and just all the sorts of like interesting things that vaping does, which is one thing that they do very, very well in that industry is in the vaping is the social media aspect of it. Let's go ahead and get into our giveaway. This is the big AM Hookah giveaway. We're partnering up with Alpha Comma. Badia is helping us give away a ton of tobacco. We're so thankful for that. And it's a real simple giveaway. All the information is going to be on the AM Hookah Facebook group, and it's also going to be in some other places as well. All you have to do is like the Alpha Comma page, like the new AM Hookah page, and then there's going to be a list of 30 flavors from Alpha Comma. Your goal is to pick up to 4, a minimum of 2, make the best mix possible you can, and then also submit the mix with a very good name. The name is really important in this. I'm going to tell you right now that you're going to get style points for that name. So you're going to submit a mix with a really good name. Once you do that, we're going to break it down to 10, the top 10. Then the community is going to vote on that to the top 3. Myself, Adrian, and Badia is going to smoke the top 3. Once we do that, we're going to place the top 3 into 1, 2, and 3. First place is going to win an expo ticket plus 1,000 grams of Alpha Comma. Second place is
in the form of, there's a specific form I think we're giving away the kilo.
Yes.
Maybe that's worth going over.
Yeah, we're going to be giving away 10 boxes as well as two 250-gram tins as well to make the 1,000 grams. And then we're also going to do 500 grams for the second place of Alpha Kama with the 10 50-gram boxes. And then we're going to be giving away to third place 250 grams. So you don't have to worry of everyone's commenting on how I said Badia. That is what this show has turned into, is can Matt pronounce names correctly, basically. It is not going to be a first place takes all. It is going to be a first, second, and third place contest, so you have plenty of a chance to win some really cool prizes. All you have to do is submit a mix with an awesome name, and I promise you that name is going to come in handy for you. Super excited to be doing this with Alpha Kama, obviously. Super excited to be giving away a ticket to the Hookah Worldwide Expo. It's something me and Adrian have been pawing around doing for a long time. Captain Wetbeard pushed us to do it.
Captain Wetbeard told us we should. We were like, let's steal that one.
Yeah, let's figure out how to do that.
Thanks, buddy.
Luckily, we have. Captain Webber, he says, I have a question. What Hookah YouTube channels has the most subscribers? Is it DMZ or Strictly Shisha? I'm not sure the exact count just because I haven't checked for a while.
The answer officially... Can I rant for a second?
If you would like to rant, if you want to do this rant right now, you're more than willing to. This is our platform that we can say whatever we want.
Officially, and I'm going to get into this later. I'm not going to tell you how or why, but this will be talked about later on my channel and potentially this one. That's all you get, though. So DMZ has more subscribers. To be exact, they have just about 25,000 subscribers versus Zach's 4,000. However, in terms of being an actual Hookah reviewer, DMZ, in my opinion, has 0 subscribers. They do not put out content that is actual review content. I'm not going to get too deep into this, but that's just my opinion on how DMZ does their content. It's an issue that I think needs to be talked about. They do put out content that's pretty good for maybe some new smokers. Maybe. I'm not going to share too much of my opinion on that. But as far as the American YouTube reviewer with the most attention, best content, and I would say most subscribers, excluding DMZ and what they're doing, is Zach from Strictly Shisha. You've obviously got guys like Hookah who have more subs, but they're no longer active.
Yeah.
So I think it's Strictly Shisha right now.
Yeah, I'd say Strictly Shisha when it comes to actual Hookah reviews. You're going to want to go to Strictly Shisha for content. When it comes to products that are coming out and you may be interested in, DMZ fits a mold and a model of, I want to say, what's it called when you show off a product on TV, as seen on TV?
Advertising?
Infomercial. Yes, yes. They do a very, if you watch their Husic, is that what that thing's called? The
Husic Hookah. It's basically a garbage pipe that they tape to a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, and that their video on that is much less a review, I would say, and I don't think they would argue with this, and I'd be surprised if they did. But it is much more an infomercial about that product than it is an actual review about the product in what it actually is. You know, it's a good infomercial. It almost made me want to buy one, and then I remembered what it was, and I was like, I don't want to buy that. I'll just bring my music with me through 100,000.
I've got some duct tape in the other room and a Bluetooth speaker. I can make this new music right now.
Gus says right now DMZ is higher between those two, though it is fair to say that they have a following outside of the States, as well as which again shows they are kind of running circles around us in the South American, etc. So he's saying that part of that reason for the high subscriber count is also the fact that it's overseas subs as well, which I would imagine.
This is also, yeah, that's important. It's also important to note that they get roughly a 5 to 6% view count weighed against their subscribers, where Zach's gets pretty damn close to 50%.
Yeah, which is a big thing.
There's something going on there. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think infomercials is a bad way to put what DMZ does. I'm not trying to put them down. I think that's literally what they're aiming to do. I'd love to hear anybody tell me that that's wrong, and I'd love to hear the reasons why that might be. With that being said, I've been happy to watch their content on things like Zomo. I've been happy to watch their content on things like Al-Waha and stuff like that. I like both those brands, and I like the stuff that they put out for them. So that's just me speaking on my own personal opinion. I think that does it for us, Adrian, unless there's anything else you think that we need to talk about.
Nothing I can talk about right now.
Okay. Is there anybody in chat that has anything that they'd like to say really quickly? We're going to be cutting out here in just a moment. You can find me on Twitter at @OnlyMattDezen. You can find the show at AM_Hookah. Instagram, you can find us AM Hookah Podcast. Facebook group, just look for the name AM Hookah. And now you can find us on a Facebook page. The link is in the description below. And I think if you just look up AM Hookah Podcast, you'll also find the page there as well. So hit those like buttons and all that kind of fun stuff, and let me know what you think about all those. Where can we find you, Adrian?
Do you guys like this type of content? Do you want to see more hookah content? Go subscribe to Pipe Dream Hookah. That's where you can find me on YouTube. I put out all kinds of reviews and tutorials and videos like that. And like I do a lot of Alfaka content for a lot of you people who might be only able to get Alfaka, like you poor people in Canada. Can't believe how expensive that stuff is there. And then if you want to find me on the social medias, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @D_PipeDream. And then I'm on Facebook. My name's Adrian Hunter. The one you want to look for is the one that has my face on it.
Yeah, and Adrian, I'm doing some stuff, and I was looking at some pictures of yours to try and pull one. Where did the long hair go, Adrian?
So it's getting kind of long again. I've kind of not been cutting it. But the long hair went away when I got a new job.
Okay.
And I was like, they were like, hey, you need to cut your hair because you're a guy. And then I was like, hey, it's 2018. That's not right.
Yeah, guys can be women in 2018.
Yeah, man. I also wear heels. Dedunked.
Yeah, they help with that layup, right?
Captain also help with me only being 5'9".
Captain Wetbeard says that we have 14 people watching at this exact moment and only 11 likes. Get down there, do your job, hit that like button. We'd appreciate it so very much. Who's lurking is what Gus says. Slap that like button. I like that. Slap that like button. Just like that.
Oh, real quick,
Yep.
We apologize. This is supposed to be a strictly Shisha interview today. He had to cancel. He runs his own business. Sometimes things happen. That's just the way things go. But we will be having him on very shortly, probably as soon as next week. I haven't gotten the full confirmation, but it's going to be very shortly, and he sends his apologies for not being here today, because I know a lot of people were kind of pumped to see him on the Input Podcast channel. More so, they were just pumped to see him. So
Yeah.
we hope to get him on here very soon.
Yes, very, very soon. We hope so as well. I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you guys so much for listening to us rant, rattle, and talk for a little while. This show is only possible because of you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We appreciate it so very, very much. I got nothing else to say at the moment, so until next time, guys, keep on smoking.